extra, read all about it. Get your copies while they last. Stop the presses.
And now for something completely different.
Are you ready for a little truth? Are we not entertained? Wisdom is the proper use of knowledge and experience. There are no safe spaces here. The truth shall make you free. It's showtime! So you want the truth, but can you handle the truth? Well, here's another fine mess you've gotten us into. Now that's entertainment. Enlighten me a little. What you say is quite logical. And what did we learn? Prepare yourself for a little sensory overload. I came here for the truth. 7 years ago. Stand by the Roll Show intro. Roll Show intro in 3, 2, 1, go.
This is the Craig L. Hayes Show.
Hello, America, family, friends, and listeners all around this planet we call home. This is the Craig L. Hayes Show, and I am Craig L. Hayes. It is good to be here with you again on another episode of fun and thrills and fabulous things going on. Today is the 11th day of December 2024, and it's going to be an interesting one today. I'm going to tell you a few things, probably irritate a few people, probably make a few people cheer. But we have to get back to what we're going to tell people and say our thoughts, our truths, but be honest about what we really believe and what we should really do. Doesn't mean we have to be heartless. It doesn't mean we have to be completely going to give in and just let people do whatever they want. But we have to think about things and be honest. Be honest. Honesty is the most important thing here in being true to everything that you stand for, and please stand. Anyways, today's topic for the next about 25 minutes is going to be about immigration. Okay, so there's a couple sides to this immigration policy. We've been watching it go on for quite some time. We've been watching the Democrats, Joe Biden, and all the open borders people like the George Soroses just bring in illegally. Now you have to remember that Joe Biden and his party are allowing people to break the law every day and bring in 20 million unvetted, we don't know really who almost all these people are, people into this country. They're not just people looking for work. Please understand that. If they were just people looking for work and have a better life, we could have a little chat about that. But this is not what it is. These are people that are being brought here by the Democrat Party to change America. Now, people sit there and say to brown America, to black America, whatever. It's not to do that. They're doing it so that they can bring in people that will vote for them every election and keep giving them power and authority. We've watched what this has done in the last 4 years. Why do we want to continue doing this unless you're a Democrat and you hate this country, which the Democrat Party hates this country? Please keep that in mind at all times. The Democrat Party hates America. If they loved America, they wouldn't do this to America. They would actually be wanting the laws enforced and to say, can we bring in some more people? We need a few more people. You know, instead of we're allowing just 100,000 people this year to come into this country, we could use 120,000 because we're short on people that want to do this work. That's an honest debate. But to take and bring in 20 million people illegally, use taxpayers' money illegally to send them all over the country to try to change the demographics in a city, a state, counties, and in the country is treasonous. It's wrong. No matter how much you try to say, it's wrong. Now they sit there and say, yo, well, all these people have babies real quick, and then we can keep these people here. Well, let's talk about that real quick. Let's really talk about a couple things on this topic, okay? They always point to the 14th Amendment. It's amazing how Democrats who hate this nation, hate this Constitution, hate your rights, always want to run to the Constitution so they can destroy the Constitution. 14th Amendment, they say, makes any person born here in America an automatic citizen. No, it doesn't. The 14th Amendment does not say anything of that such. 14th Amendment, they say, it says plainly right there, all persons born in the United States are citizens. No, that's not what it says. It says all persons born in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and the states. I didn't have to even look that up, and I probably missed a word or two, but that's what it says. And subject to the jurisdiction thereof. They always leave that out. Isn't that convenient that they leave the most important part of the 14th Amendment out of there? Because subject to the jurisdiction thereof means one thing. They're allowed to be here. They're supposed to be here. They have been given the privilege and the right to be here. And by being here, if you're the parents of an unborn baby, and you're hoping to drop them here in the country, and then use them as the anchor to pull your whole family into this country, if that is your desire, it's wrong. But if you're here legally, if you're here, you've been given a green card and you're working towards citizenship, and you have a baby here in this country, that baby can be considered a citizen. See how this works? It's very simple. That's why they leave this out. Did you know we didn't even have to have this discussion from what was it, 1867, I think is when the 14th Amendment passed, or 66, 67, somewhere in there, after the Civil War. And that's another topic. The reason we have the 14th Amendment was because we had to figure out what to do with the slaves that were here after the Civil War. It is about slavery. It's not about dumping a baby here and saying, there, now my baby's a citizen. No, it's being able to say the people that were brought here against their will, and all these kids and all their children and their children and their children that have been born here in this country are now citizens. We can't just say, hey, you've been here for generations. Sorry about the slavery thing, but you got to go. You got to head back to Africa, a place you don't know anything about, and places you have no idea what it means to go back there, and not even sure which part of Africa to send you to. 14th Amendment answered that question. And when they debated that, they made sure they talked about why they were doing that. And if you read any of the discussions, they actually talk about, people who just come here. Are they considered that? No, they aren't. It was never, ever considered that from, we'll just say, 1865 until 1968. People were not considered citizens because they snuck into the country and had a baby. That was never the thing, clear until 1968. And then all of a sudden, the administrative state stepped in and said, hey, we just read this thing called the 14th Amendment, and it says any person born in this country is a citizen. So now we're declaring that all people that are born here are citizens starting in 1968 and moving forward. What about the 100 years before that? We applied the law like it's written. We applied the Constitution as it's written. All of a sudden, we stopped 1968 because of some idiot. Wait a second. Who was that? That was Johnson. He was such a horrible president. between Vietnam and the Great Society, all that crap that he put. Lyndon B. Johnson was a horrible president and did put the last final nails in the coffin of this country that Franklin Delano Roosevelt couldn't quite get in. He set him in place a little bit, and then, Johnson came along and drove those suckers home. So, there is no such thing as birthright citizenship for people who are here illegally for their children who they just drop out or pop out or have birth or whatever. It is a wrong concept, and I'll tell you right now, Donald Trump, you can end it tomorrow. The day, we'll say tomorrow. How about if we say on the 20th, you can put out an order saying all people that are born here to illegal aliens are not citizens. And it has to be complied with, because they'll take it to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court's going to say, yeah, you're right. These people are here illegally, that they don't get the magic and the honor of becoming a citizen just by being here illegally and having a baby. That's insanity. How can you create it, just the jurisdiction and the right to be a citizen just by walking across the border and having a baby? That is stupid. That's why the administrative state has to be shut down and dissolved, dismantled, and everybody fired. This is what they're doing to our country. And if you look at it, most of these people who work and do all these things, they're all Democrats. See, they work together. Democrat Party and the administrative state, they work together to destroy this nation. So Donald Trump, you can end it on day one with an executive order. They're going to go crazy about that, cry about it. They're going to sue. They're going to do all this stuff, take it to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court's going to say, you're right. Take it. Take this. Make this happen. Day one. Make it known. You want to know what else can take and get rid of this illegal immigration problem? Fix the wall, number one. Make sure people can't come in here, and if you have to, close the borders completely. There, it's problem solved. Make sure that Mexico understands that if they don't stop it on their side, the wall's closed, none of their products come here. They lose $80 billion in money going south. We list the cartels as terrorist nations, and we deal with them like any other terrorist nation with all the destruction they're doing in this country. That's a couple things we could do real quick. You want to know what else we can do here? How about as we go and do this? I just jotted down a couple of things. Not $1 goes to any illegal alien here. Now we can take and break that down a little bit. They get no government assistance or services whatsoever. They get, including, but not limited to, a free education. I'm sorry, you don't belong here. You don't get a debit card with lots of money on it. You don't get free housing. You don't get free medical care. You don't get free food. And you don't get a free education. These are things that are for people who pay taxes and live here legally and are citizens. That's what these services are for. We don't give you medical services. Why are our hospitals clogged up with all these people when these hospitals should be serving only people who are supposed to be here? That would take care of a big chunk of our medical problems. These things are so very... Part two of this is very simple too. You tell employers, it's going to be very simple. We're going to be searching things. We're going to be looking at things. If you've hired illegal aliens, it's going to be a $500,000 fine and 6 months in jail per person per event. Now you employers are going to have to sit there and figure this out real quick. Is it worth hiring these guys for a lesser wage, not having to pay the benefits, not having to pay all these things, knowing that if you get caught, you're going to jail and it's a $500,000 fine? Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, and hopefully it's something that may inspire you to start following the law and might start drying up the illegal alien labor pool that's out there. And you want to know what else we have to do? And it's very, very simple. We just very easily tell everybody in this country, make sure it's broadcast on every station, on every radio, on everything in every language. Here's how it's going to work, people. You're given 2 months to pack your bags and get your butts back out of this country and go apply for legal entry into this nation. Because if we catch you and we deport you, you will never, ever be allowed to even visit, live, or anything in this country. You're done. You will not be allowed. It'll be the black book, we'll call it. You're in the black book, you're not allowed to come in here. I only know the black book because of Las Vegas and the casinos and stuff. If you got on the black book in Las Vegas, it meant you're not allowed to go into any casino anywhere in Nevada. We'll apply that to illegal aliens for the whole nation. So if you come back in here, it's a very simple thing. You leave, or you're going to be made so you can't come back. And if you do come back, because you sneak back in because you're deported, and you come back, we have a special prison for you right down by the border. And it's a $10,000 fine or a $50,000 fine that has to be paid until you can leave there, and then you're deported again. So maybe your family will have to pay it. Or maybe all these caring Democrats that have brought you in here and have destroyed this nation will pay your bail so you can get out of there and then be deported again. It's very simple. You make it uncomfortable for people to break the law. You make consequences for people to break the law. We don't have to put up with it in this country. We don't have to have this kind of lawlessness every day of our life in this nation. Very simple. If you've committed basic crimes, you're deported immediately and you're never coming back into this thing. If you've committed heinous crimes from assault with deadly weapon, robbery, murder, we're just going to take you out and have a tribunal to make sure it was you who did it and execute you. You're done. You're not entitled to the rights that are found within the Bill of Rights, like citizens and legal residents in this nation. You may think you are, but you're not. A basic, quick trial to determine if you actually committed the crime. And once you're found guilty by a tribunal, sentence will be carried out. So simple. We can clean out our prisons. We can clean out everything in this nation. And I'm not saying that illegal aliens are the problem with this nation. It is just one spoke in the wheel of the destruction by the Democrat Party, by Joe Biden, by the George Soroses, and people like them. So anyways, that's my take on this immigration thing, and I hope we see this happen so quickly in this country, and then these people are all told just that, get out. You need to get out as fast as you can. And then find the people who are the terrorists. You know how many terrorists we probably have in this nation because of Joe Biden and his party? Of the 20 million people that came into this country under Joe Biden and the Democrats in the last 4 years, my money is going to be, we've got at least 50 to 100,000, if not more, people from countries that hate us. Like, oh, I don't know, how about we start with Afghanistan, Iran, Syria, Lebanon, the whole everything in the Middle East, Iraq, Pakistan, pick a place anywhere, throw a dart in the Middle East, and there's people there that hate you and hate this country and are probably terrorists being sent here. Let's start with China too, North Korea. How about all these places They would love to take us down. See, problem is very simple. Solutions are always very simple too. The problem that's hard is have the willingness and the fortitude to want to do these things. I encouraged President Trump to do these things as soon as he gets in there, and everyone to just make this happen. And let's make America great again. We can do it in a very short time. That's one of the things we can talk about. So anyways, until the next time we get together and have a chat, Talbot, take it.
This is the Craig L. Hayes Show.